I was thinking a bit about how, let's say, if I'm going to reference you and what is it that you do. So there's two questions that came up. First question is, like, are you Dutch, Turkish, Dutch?
That was the first question.
Sorry? Yes. No, we haven't started.
Where are we
officially
going
yet.
after that? One might
No,
ask.
but it's like just it was interesting. Like, how do you identify yourself? Is it like which order comes first in this case? And whether you care, whether you even think about it. That's also a question, right? Like for me, if someone says, "Okay, Tunisian, Norwegian," the Norwegian, Tunisian, I'm like, yeah, whatever. You can pick whichever order. I don't care too much about these details.
The only time that I think about that order or those words whatsoever is when I have to sign a biography or something like that. And I also saw like a couple of theaters wrote like Dutch, Turkish, then they put the Dutch
First.
up front.
Yeah.
Dutch, Turkish, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's the same thing with you, same thing everyone. Like, we don't walk around thinking like, oh, it's a great day to be a Dutch, Turkish theater maker. You don't necessarily live your life like that. But well, I got my Dutch passport last year. That was something.
Okay.
But more importantly, last week when I went to Turkish consulate, they put a hole in my Turkish passport. And I'm not necessarily, I'm not a nationalistic person whatsoever. And I was really looking forward to get my Dutch passport and just be done with this.
Yeah.
But that hole did something to me.
Hole in your soul.
Hole in my soul.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dutch, Turkish, Dutch.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
Theater maker, that matters.
Yeah, so that's my second question.
Oh, very good.
Was that, because here I have, Turkish-born performer, writer, and producer. And then I was thinking, okay, which one are you first? But then if you say theater maker,
yeah,
that kind of like also encapsulates all of that, right?
Yeah, that's why people always like, they're like, we don't understand
what
follow.
Are you?
Yeah, they're like, we follow you on Instagram, but I don't understand what you're doing. Well, as many artists living in this age, I do some stuff to, feed my soul and that I really enjoy, and I do some stuff to live, like pay rent and eat and all those beautiful things. So producer, like artistic director, actually, that's how I pay my rent.
Artistic director
but also
and producer.
Theater maker and also but it's not a consistent job.
Yeah.
But also, like, I was thinking when you were saying like Tunisian and Norwegian, I think that was something in your life, like all your life, that probably followed,
I don't necessarily care that much about these things. It's just sometimes I get these kind of silly questions. What do you feel more as? And I didn't choose either of them.
Yeah.
So let's say in your situation, you chose to become Dutch, right?
That's true.
Like I'm a mixed race hybrid person. I'm a bit of both.
Yeah.
Both genetically and culturally.
Yeah.
So then choosing.
Yeah.
What are you is almost like choosing between who do you like more, your mom or your dad.
I have an easy answer to that, but no, I think you were saying something very important in two things. I did not choose to be a Dutch person. I wanted that passport. And the passport was my goal, and nationality came after that. It was almost like, now I'm Dutch. I just didn't want to get visas, and so that was.
So it's kind of like a practical thing.
Absolutely. But also, like, you had Norwegian passport all your life?
Yes.
Okay. So when I had Turkish passport, and I remember like all the inburgering exams that I had to pass, all the waiting and all the money that I paid was, when you go to an airport that you want to travel, even the visa situation, like you did all the hurdle and you're in the airport and there are two lines.
The European line?
And the old passport line.
Yeah.
And in that old passport line, I would wait with my brown, shorter people and all those Europeans with their shiny luggages and their, height. They would just pass. And I'm like, I'm dying here. Every second I'm getting closer to death. And your life is like more valuable. You're already having your coffee in a fucking Starbucks. And here I am.
I know the feeling a little bit, even though I've always had a Norwegian passport. So in that sense, I'm privileged. But my dad, he never got the Norwegian citizenship or anything like that. So the few times I traveled with my dad, You want to stay together as a group. So then you took the longer line.
Yeah.
So then you had to go to all the passport line.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I've got the European passports, they're not going to tell you, hey, what are you doing here? And this is way before like the biometric passports. You know? You just chose a line and then you stick to it.
Yeah.
If you're on all passports, nobody's going to tell you what you're doing there.
Yeah.
If you're on the other side, it's a bit more selective.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can also be a relationship test. Imagine one partner has all passport, the other one has the European. It happened to me. I'm like, okay, motherfucker, that's what you're gonna do? That's what, you're gonna pass and not wait for me? No, but so basically that was the thing. I really wanted the passport. And but the second thing also, if we go back to what you were saying, like when people ask you, like people, basically then identity is almost like, as I said, like we don't wake up, oh, I'm a Dutch Turkish person, but like it's a reflection of others. It's their eyes upon you. Then it makes you question yourself or pigeonholing yourself into certain places more than it does not come intrinsically. Yeah. So those things don't say much to me, except in the funding process. Then that's really helpful.
Funding, then
for theatrical funding, then you become Turkish.
Diversity.
Diversity box. Let me check. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you wear all of your. Then you become like Uber.
Yeah.
Uber Turkish.
And I think also my mom is Kurdish. Like there's that.
So you're an oppressed group.
More oppressed, more money, baby.
Yeah.
No. Please cut that.
No, but it's true though. Honestly,
it is really true.
Honestly,
no, you don't have to cut it. Everyone knows that's what I think.
I notice a difference. Honestly, like if I introduce myself as Norwegian or as Tunisian.
Yeah.
Like.
Do you do that? Like, do you introduce yourself to white people as a Norwegian and?
I think most of the time I introduce myself as Norwegian.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends. I think because my story, like this dual citizenship, your mom is from there, your dad is from there, blah, 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 is a story.
Yeah.
You know? For example, I imagine, I'm not sure, but if someone asks you, so where you're from, you say, okay, I'm originally from Turkey, but I'm Dutch or whatever, right? Or you're a Moroccan-born or Dutch, but you're originally from there or there. But for me, if I meet people from the first time, it's like, oh, I'm Norwegian, Tunisian. Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting mix. Yeah. So then it becomes like a whole life story.
True.
You know, and I don't feel like sharing that life story every time I'm having a conversation with a random Jan.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, it's like, where are you from? I'm Norwegian. It ends the conversation. And if I say I'm Tunisian, you usually get, oh, you don't look North African. You know?
Yeah. I know that one.
Sorry?
I know that one.
Yeah. So then I need to say, oh, my mother is Norwegian. And then it leads to that long conversation again.
20 minutes later, then you're ordering coffee, yeah.
It depends on who I meet and the likelihood of meeting that person again. So it's very strategic there.
Fair.
So,
yeah.
Because in Europe, the Norwegian part kind of like end of conversation. Okay, Alex, Norwegian. Yeah. We're done. Oh, Norway, it's nice. I've been there. But then it doesn't really...
Yeah, it doesn't go...
much,
yeah, but if you add Tunisia...
If you add to Tunisian, it's like, ooh.
Spicy.
Yeah, exactly.
And how do you feel about like adding Dutch to the mix? How long have you been here now?
10 years. Ooh. I don't need to become Dutch. I don't...
Yeah, but what is becoming Dutch?
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Do you eat haring?
No. I'm becoming more stingy.
How do you feel about... When do you send Tiki to a meeting?
Actually, I still refuse to do that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I refuse. It's
Brother,
a point of
you're
honor.
not Dutch.
Yeah, I'm not Dutch. And I will never be, and that's okay.
I embrace Tiki very, very quickly.
Yeah?
I embrace Tiki very quickly. Haring, yes.
You eat haring? Do you love
Love
it?
haring.
Really?
Love haring. That's the only spicy, punchy thing this country has, I would say. You know, it's very... I like that. I drink Jenever.
Okay, Jenever can be nice.
How do you feel about bitterball?
Bitterball are good.
Yeah, who doesn't like
But like fried shit is easy.
Frikandel never had though. Never had it.
No, did I? Here's the thing. It's certain things I don't necessarily feel that I'm missing out on.
No, me neither.
I don't crave it. For example, like broodje croquette.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a carb bomb. I don't need that in my life.
Exactly. No. I tried it once. It's good. I mean, like I don't understand the point of it. First of all, because the beauty of a croquette
Yes.
is that it's breadcrumbed.
Yeah.
So what's the point of smushing it? So then you're losing the whole texture part.
Yes.
Like why?
I agree. That's lunch for them.
Yeah, but so that I don't,
Yeah.
for them, not for us.
You see, cross the Dutch.
Oh well.
Oh, but yeah.
But you had to give up your Turkish.
I had to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how you feel it.
Yeah, not only that, I can only stay in Turkey right now 90 days a year.
Which you probably...
I go there like 20 days max a year.
Anyways, yeah.
But still, the possibility is gone.
You don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah, there's that, and God forbid, when my parents die, then there's this whole what is that word that they are,
The inheritance.
Yeah, inheritance thing. Then my brother probably would take everything. There's not much. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, those kind of things, and I cannot vote. Yeah. So
But how do people here? Because there's a big Turkish community. I think it's the third largest minority.
Oh.
Yeah, because I think it's Moroccan. Actually, Moroccan, Turkish actually second, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, second, and then I think it's Surinamese.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, don't quote me on it, but definitely Moroccan first. I think Turkish second. Yeah. And most people, Turkish or people here, Dutch of Turkish descent, do they only have Dutch passports then?
No, that rule changed a couple of years ago. Don't quote me on that, but no. And if I got my Dutch passport through marriage, then I could keep both.
Okay.
But that was not the case.
Maybe worth checking.
We're checking.
Yeah.
Well, there was already a hole in my Turkish passport, so long gone. No,
I mean, the passport is one thing, and citizenship is a different thing, right? So,
is it?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're kind of connected.
Okay.
But...
No. I denounced my Dutch Turkish citizenship. Yeah, I did
exactly.
that. I did do that, and my parents were very happy. That was all because all my sorry microphone. All my Dutch friends, they were like, "How do you feel about denouncing Turkish citizenship?" And I was like, "I don't feel anything." And especially my parents were very happy that they were really like, "Oh my God, you're gonna get it right." Because, Turkey situation, we don't know what's going to happen. And it's also almost like an escape plan, like plan B for them somehow. Can be. So, yeah, it's ups and downs. But, yeah, now this is it.
All right. And how was it for you, let's say, growing up? Were you... Yeah, how was it? Let's kind of rewind, right? How Turkish were you in Turkey?
How Turkish was I?
Yeah.
That question bears a question, what is Turkish, I guess?
Yeah, you're a smart lady. You started out. Yeah.
No, okay, so I grew up in Istanbul. How Turkish were you? So that question almost triggers this moment that I had here many times, like when I was working in an Argentinian steak restaurant. And people would ask me, as a waitress, I would work there, and they would yeah, where are you from? And I would say Turkish, and they would say, oh, but you don't look Turkish. And I would say, thank you. So that was a very problematic answer when you think about it. But I think what I was trying to distance myself was the picture of Turkish that I had in my own head, and I was also thinking Dutch people when they think of Turkish people, especially people who came here in the 60s and 70s. I was like, oh, I'm not like them. Funny enough, now for an artist residency, I am talking to a lot of women who came here in the 60s and 70s, and first of all, I'm seeing, I am a lot of like them. But we can go back there later. But so if we go back to your question, when we think of Turkey is a big country, 80 million people, a lot of immigrants. My father was an immigrant from Yugoslavia. There are a lot of mixed cultures. One thing I think we have this idea in our heads with the Turkish people is religious people or conservative people. My parents were not religious. My parents are not conservative. And my dad, coming from Yugoslavia, he would always say, my mom was from a rural area of Turkey. My dad would always say, we're not, we are European. So I had this European idea in my head. I was like, my dad is blonde and, green eyes. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'm also like, I'm tall, like, I'm not like them. Which is in itself a very harsh feeling, because you are like them also, because yes, I also do look Turkish when you think of, I came here with a husband. All those women that I'm talking to right now in the 60s or 70s, they came here with a husband. I came here with a husband. 2 years I didn't work. They didn't work, but they were raising children. They don't speak Dutch. I don't speak Dutch. So that was a wonderful disillusionment that I'm having right now, is that, oh my God, I am a lot like these women, and I have a lot to learn from them. And I feel respect to them, actually.
So to a certain extent, you're very similar, but you're also a bit different, right? I mean,
Yeah, of course.
You are you, and you bring whoever, like your identity. I guess your background. That's if you think about Turkey, you maybe came from a different background, but then the journey is more or less the same, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah. So yeah, I grew up. They were both teachers, like Atatürk ideas, like left. Since I was a child, we would always protest something. Like, because they were teachers, they were like, we would protest for everything. Like we would play, like we would hit pens to each other. We would turn on and off lights. I don't know what that did necessarily. We would make noise, and and then you would see, oh, that neighbor also did that. They were like us, or they didn't do it like that. And so it was almost like saying, like, we are here and we are standing up for these things. So yeah, that's how I grew up. In a sense, that was the household.
So you were like in a political household?
In Turkey, it's almost impossible not to be in a political household, I think. Yeah, if you're middle upper class, and if your family comes from university education, like, I think you end up a bit politically charged. Well, like I can also like tell you, like, when I was in high school, for instance. So Turkey's like different nationalities, or like different immigrant groups, also reflected itself in the country's politically charged situation. For instance, like there was conservatives was growing in the beginning of 2000s with Erdogan. There was this left has been struggling for a while, and then there was nationalists. When I went to my high school, after the high school exams, it was a nationalistic high school, like very, very, very much so. In the 80s, when left and right were fighting, like that was the right high school. Everyone knew that. So there I was, my first day in the school, and we were going to read the national anthem, because that's every school in Turkey. You do that every Monday before entering the school. Every Friday when you leave the school, you read the national anthem.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the first day of school.
What level was this again?
It's high school, so basically, 14.
And you always like started?
From 6-7 years old. That's what you do. That's the ritual.
Quite patriotic.
Yeah. And so that's what we were doing. And then the principal, who has been the principal for like 15, 20 years or something like that, he's like, cut us. He's like, no. That's not good. Sing it again. So we were singing again. He's like, no. I don't believe you. Sing it again. We sang, I think, like 5-6 times. So that was the vibe. So that was, I think it was very smart in a sense. Like, he's like, this is my home, and these are the rules, and you're gonna play for that rules. And so, for instance, you had to wear like black shoes. You could not have nails, and like, there's a uniform, by the way. Like, you had to wear a tie, and it has to be in a certain way. No phones whatsoever. And my dad, especially, like coming from a left environment, I was very isolated. I had no friends whatsoever. And one day before the class started, I was reading news on a newspaper, and in the news it said few people went to a publishing house where they would publish Bible, and they cut the throats everyone working there in Turkey, in a city. not in Istanbul, but somewhere else. And I got very upset by this news. And two of my classmates were talking about the same news. And they were like, and one of them said, yeah, you see, you should do those kind of things with those pigs. What do they think, like they can publish Bible in our country? And I lost it. I attacked him physically.
Wow.
Which hindsight was not a good idea. I mean, protesting violence with violence was not necessarily fruitful. But I really lost it. I was just like, I was done with that pressure. And then I started running in the high school trying to hide because where are you gonna go? And finally I called my dad and he picked me up. And then we went to the principal's room. And I was crying, as one does. And the principal said, why are you crying for these people? You should cry for our martyrs and our soldiers. As if there's a limited amount of tears that one can,
It's basically like selective empathy,
yeah,
right?
selective empathy, absolutely. And then the principal said, to my father, whether you take this girl or we're gonna, kick her off, then it's gonna be in her file. So you better take her from the school. And we were on the same page with the principal and I for the first time. So my dad took me off. So there was also that side. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, the beliefs can be very strong in Turkey.
Did you feel that, when this shift happened, did you feel that were you like recognizing your own country? Did you start feeling like you were perhaps living in a different place than what you've known perhaps in your earlier years?
For me, that was coup attempt or whatever that was in 2017. That was a very disillusionment. And for a lot of people also, like when I talk to people in living here right now, most of them, they're like, after the coup, we decide to come. Because coup was happening and you can say whatever you think about it. But Erdogan said, we are going to show them this is our country. And a lot of thousands of people went on streets and they attacked the soldiers. And that went all night long. And, and the last thing that I think really got into all of our memories was that soldiers were on the Bosphorus and you could see from their eyes, they had no idea. A lot of, they just followed an order, right? I don't think they necessarily knew that was a coup. They were not the brain behind it, right? But they were 18, 19-year-old soldiers in the Bosphorus and the civilians, Erdogan supporters, they attacked them and they beat them to death. So when you watch it in national TV, you're like, oh, so that's what we are doing right now, beating each other to death. So yeah, that was the time. Then I'm like, oh, maybe let's get out of here.
So that's when you kind of started thinking that maybe it's time to leave the country?
Yeah. And following that, a lot of people on the streets, there were a lot of flags. If you don't put a flag, that actually means something now, a lot of people would honk, with the support, they would chant, if you don't do that, that means something. So you've started to feel the social pressure.
So I needed to show that you're supporting the current regime, otherwise...
Yeah, you are an
enemy.
enemy.
Yeah,
you're an enemy.
It's either you're with us or you're against us.
Yeah.
There's no in between. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how a country gets polarized, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, how did that lead you to leave? Where did that journey take you then?
I had a Dutch-Turkish boyfriend, and then we had lived in Turkey for 4 or 5 years, and then we decided to come here, and that's how I came here.
All right. Yeah.
And there are some bureaucratic hurdles, of course. That was not as easy, that I'm saying. And then we came here and we got married for me to stay here, and this and that. Blah, 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 blah.
In hindsight, was that the right decision?
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here. No, God bless. I love Istanbul, but that was too much for me. Sensitive soul, sensitive mind.
Do you feel like you can be more yourself here?
I got calmer. I'm chiller.
It's the weather?
The weather? I got used to it.
No, I mean, you said you got chiller.
Oh,
so I got colder, calmer. So I was like, yeah.
That too. No, yeah. Well,
never fun enough to explain a joke, but
yeah, maybe that was not as a joke.
Yeah.
No, it's I love this place, man. I love it. It's also I realized that I came from my summer vacation, and I was in the Schiphol airport this summer, and I said, to my boyfriend, I was like, home. I was like, what? Did you hear that? I said home. So that was also very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the feeling.
Yeah?
I had that when I went back. I think I came here and then I stayed, I think, here maybe 6 months before I went back to visit my family for the holidays. And then on my way back here, I got the feeling when I was at Schiphol and the, what do you call that? It's not an escalator, but you know, the conveyor belt thingy. And I heard that, mind your step. I was like, home. You know,
Mind your step.
Yeah. Like,
that voice.
That's like Schiphol to me.
Yeah,
that
true,
sound.
true. Whenever you want to travel, but you cannot afford, you just listen to that. Mind your step.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So like I had it, I was there, and I was like, mind your step. I'm like, home. I was like, oh wow, what's happening here?
Yeah. Funny, huh? Funny how it creeps in you.
Exactly.
It's not like a moment, in a sense, like it's not like, oh, now it's home. You don't. It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, and especially back then, I came here to finish my master's.
Right.
So my plan was to study, finish my year, and then leave again. And this was kind of like in the middle of my studies still.
Yeah.
And then I got that feeling. I was like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, and then I had to sit with it for a while. And then I guess eventually decided to, okay, I'm going to stay here for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
And I had different plans back then for what I wanted to do. And then I was like, no, I think I need to explore this feeling.
So basically
further.
you chose the place more than you chose a job or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah. It's weird. I can't explain it. Because I had completely different plans back then. Yeah.
It was fated.
In a way, I think
say,
so. Yeah. I'm not very spiritual in any way.
I am very spiritual, so I say it for you.
Okay.
It was fated.
I trust you. If you say so.
I am very spiritual. What a horrible thing to say. But yeah. No, it sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so I can imagine that this was probably not easy for you to adjust, right? When you first came here. I mean, it's different culture, different country, different ways of doing things. How was it for you?
I think more than that, for like 3-4 years, like so after I graduated from university, I studied media and visual arts. That was also very like, haha, media, it's not law, you know, it's not like business or whatever. So what I faced was here that I just applied for jobs like advertisement companies. No one hired me. So I was doing babysitting and waitressing or whatever, just like a lost person. And I'm living this 40 square meter with my ex-husband, like with my husband. It's a small space and like money is always an issue, you know. And I didn't have a lot of friends. And there was the language thing. But then Mezrab came into the picture, which we are at right now.
Yeah.
No, Mezrab really, I think I can easily say Mezrab changed my life.
Really?
Really. Really. In a sense, like, my ex-husband, God bless him, love him very much, but like not a great communicator. He just doesn't like talking. What you gonna do? And so I didn't have a lot of friends, but as you can see, I'm a very talkative person.
Yeah.
Moreover, I'm a writer. Words are my best friends. Oh my God. Words are my best friends. But in a sense, yeah. Well, so basically at Mezrab, I came here and I watched people and they were just like telling stories. I was like, huh? That is possible? And a friend of mine actually, she said, you should really do that. And I was like, I could barely speak any English then. I was like, ooh, what am I going to do? And then I signed up for it.
Signed up for?
To tell a story, like a short story for an open mic, like 7 minutes or so. And then I did that.
Did you have any training, anything beforehand, or was this just like jumping into the deep?
Yeah, well, I wanted to be a scriptwriter. I will be a scriptwriter. No, scriptwriting is really in my heart. I love writing stories, but no one gives you millions if you're nobody. Rightfully so. But I always wanted to tell stories. So storytelling was a great way to do that. Of course, I did a bit theater here and there, you know. No, I did a lot of theater, actually.
So let's backtrack a bit. So when did your, let's say, story within the arts start? Like within theater, within writing, within all these things. Was this already in Istanbul, or was it something?
Yeah. I will tell you when. In my primary school, every birthday of mine on the 22nd of November, my teacher would give me one class like 40 minutes to do something. And I would organize an event for the class, and I would pick people. Someone would do a poetry, someone would sing a song, and I would be the host, and I would, my dad and I would write little sketches, and like I would pretend to be a teacher, like with a, there were costumes involved, and so, yeah. So I always love to have an audience and also curate nice and like having other talents in the mix. So that's what I did for a while, and then I did some theater here and there. But it was always like very amateurish, But then here at Mezrab, it really came to a point of, oh, I am doing this and it's helping me somehow. I am communicating my feelings. I'm looking at my life from another perspective, because that's what storytelling is actually. Mm-hmm. And people are liking this. That was a mind-blowing moment for me.
And were these stories, were they like personal stories?
Yeah, that's what you do at Mezrab. I mean, of course you can do myth and everything, but fiction is not necessarily. But I always fictionalize my stories a little bit.
Yeah, I went to your
tryout.
Yeah, really enjoyed that, by the way.
Thank you.
And that came up, this fictionalized version of your story, right? So you talked about, let's say, the housing crisis.
Yeah.
Which was very relatable, and probably a lot of people would be able to relate to that. Dutch, and especially non-Dutch people, because that's what you mention in the story. And I really enjoyed that part. That, like, by the end of it, I was like, okay, what is true, what is false here?
Yeah.
Because you really weave that well into the story, like the fiction and the non-fiction part.
Very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
But it started from one question. I don't know if I told you that. I was looking for an apartment in that one group when I was living, and I found this perfect apartment. Perfect. It was like affordable, great place, but it was only for 1 month. Then I remember thinking to myself, what would happen if the landlord dies? Like, for some reason. Can I still...
So this was like a real question.
That was a real question came to my head, and then I was like, oh, that was a scary question. 2 years later, that I was like, that was a very, very interesting question. Maybe I can actually make a play about that. How far would you go to have a home? And I think that's why you pointed out very well that is a non-Dutch person, because as a Dutch person, you have your safety net whatsoever, and you know how the system works. It was a big surprise to me, man. Like, when I decided to move out from my ex-husband's house, I was like, I got this, right? I am coming from Turkey. Like, I've seen shit. Of course, I can find myself an apartment in Europe.
How hard can this be?
Yeah.
Right?
And then you're looking at in this Funda moment, that was also real. Like, I, of course, exaggerate the moment, but like, you put your maximum amount of rent, and then you press enter, and then you found a place, and that's a parking lot. That's a very good wake-up call for you. That's like, oh, this is what we're doing here.
Yep.
But yeah, so basically this fictionalizing life, not as fictionalizing, but like stretching the truth a little bit, dramatizing, actually. That, I think, makes it very interesting.
Taking creative liberties.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of it, right? I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes for good, sometimes for worse. But
can I tell you something?
Yes.
Maybe you can cut this. But I also, like, I asked you later that I saw you.
Yeah.
I asked you for real, like, what did you think about it?
Yeah.
Right? And then you told me you felt like the first 5 minutes, it felt like I was acting.
Yeah.
Right? So that stayed with me. Thank you so much for your honesty. No.
Okay.
It's going to lead to a very good place, actually. Then I was talking to my director, and what I realized also with his words is that I've been doing theatrical monologue more than storytelling since the beginning.
Mm.
And the difference is, in storytelling is actually you are in connection with the audience, and text is it's on the back burner. But because I'm a very proud writer, I always said, like, all my words should be in there, and I don't miss a word, I don't miss a punctuation. I was really like that. But it's a storytelling show in the end. That's what I call it, right? And I'm not a trained actress, and I was a bit struggling with my skill set. And what you pointed out was absolutely true. So what I tried yesterday at Mezrab here, I tried storytelling. So basically, of course I know the text, but I'm like, you're not gonna do the text as it is.
It's not like verbatim.
No. And really, like, looking at people and just like, and then also reading their faces, they're like, oh, they don't understand. Okay, I'm just going to say something. And then they're laughing. I was like, oh, funny, yeah, but what do you think about this one? So it's really turned into storytelling. And I must say it's been a very, very liberating moment for me. And I think I'm going to keep that.
Awesome.
So you see, that's what happens when you're honest to people.
Yeah, well, I'm very happy and I'm privileged. I'm glad that I helped in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's great to hear.
Yeah.
And I guess having been to that show, and okay, sadly I wasn't there yesterday, but I can imagine how that kind of like more of an interaction could play to your advantage.
Absolutely.
Especially that it's a courtroom drama.
Yeah.
So okay, you're communicating with a judge, a prosecutor, and then the audience is kind of a like jury, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
members
even-
of the court.
Yeah, members of the court, jury, whatever you want to call them. But if you look at them and you also playing off the reactions, I think you also establish a bit more of a connection there.
Absolutely.
And they're not like that. The distance is also a bit less, right? So then you're bringing, like you said, storytelling within theater. It's kind of like it's merging a bit into one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And funny enough, that is very scary because, you know, the biggest fear of people, like everyone knows that it's public speaking in a sense. And because I'm a good writer, I can say that I'm a good writer. Like, I don't care. We can talk about my performance skills, but I'm a good writer.
I agree. Like I went through like in preparation for this, like to your website, and I was reading there, and I was enjoying. I was laughing. Seriously, there's this one quote. Hold on, I need to pull it up. I loved it. So I screenshotted it because I don't know. It kind of like, in my opinion, captured you in quite a cute way. Hold on, where is it? Screenshots. Yeah. Here, so, and I'm quoting Basak.
Uh-oh.
I believe everything in the universe is interconnected. Like Gandhi, a piece of chewed gum, a newborn kitten, and your racist uncle. I love this. It's kind of like, and it makes sense. It's chaotic, it's kind of diffuse.
Yeah. But there's a nice absurd comedy
exactly,
in it,
yeah.
right?
I just like, and your way of writing it like that, I was really like, whoa, this is, I know, it made me laugh. I enjoyed it. And the rest of your about section has got more quotes like this, probably even better ones. But this one, for some reason, really stuck with me. You know?
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But yeah, what I wanted to say is like funny because the first story that I told at Mezrab, it was rhymed for 10 minutes. Do you know what that means?
No.
It means that I wrote something for 10 minutes rhyming and I performed it, so I had to do everything that blah, 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 blah. That is not storytelling. That is mental illness, no. And I actually learned how to play ukulele and I wrote 2 songs in it, so it was like a very performative thing. And that, I did not lose that performative element for the next 6-7 years. I got better at writing, so I don't have to do rhyming anymore to tickle the audience. But yesterday what I tried, which I'm also doing at my hosting, like you see me hosting, I can host because I can actually connect to people. But it is very scary to taking out your writing skill and putting it there and just really connecting with someone one-on-one and telling them something, because I think it requires some vulnerability and openness, which now I'm trying to work on that skill set. I think it's going to help me in my even like interconnected like relationships, I feel like, you know, because that's like active listening, we say, right? Like everyone is actually in a good conversation, you're actually there, and then you add something instead of like preparing your monologue and then, you know, and I'm not telling this to you right now. Of course, you have to ask some questions and you have to prepare a monologue every once in a while. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's this element of vulnerability that I feel like I'm ready to step in this new chapter of my art and craft. Yeah.
I mean, I get it, honestly. Like I like to write as well, and my writing is very different than yours. I like to write maybe a bit more like opinion pieces and political pieces and these kind of things. So I don't necessarily need to perform my writing. So that's, of course, like a very different skill set.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for example, for situations like here, now that we're recording, I prepare a bit, but then, okay, I have an outline.
Yeah.
I have some questions here, but then I also want to keep this conversation flowing in a natural way.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, like if I look at this, we probably went in a completely different direction right now.
But that is
that's
okay.
and that's what I like about it, right?
Yeah.
So it just helps me to organize my thoughts beforehand and to
Yeah.
give me some form of structure.
Yeah.
But I do not necessarily feel the need to, because otherwise I would feel that if I miss a question, then the whole thing would unravel, right? So I would like to have more or less of a theme, certain ideas that I would like to explore with you. And then we build from that. And then does the order matter? Not really, because then we can fix it later on. I could edit things or... although, like, even though I prefer to do minimal editing, I still kind of like think as long as it's a nice conversation that we're having, and that's what matters. And hopefully it's engaging. I mean, I'm enjoying it, and hopefully the audience as well is enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I believe that if I'm enjoying it and the guest is enjoying it, then I anticipate that it's an enjoyable conversation to be part of as well, and hopefully to watch or to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you're saying is right now also like there is some space for the present moment or magic to happen in a sense. And if there's always like we try to control the water stream, then it's not flowing where it's supposed to go. And sometimes in those magical moments, actually, the real deal happens.
Exactly, and this is not BBC News.
Yeah.
I don't have...
Oh, it's not?
No, so...
My manager told me
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you've been tricked.
Yeah.
No, but we have a format that we can literally like talk for as long as we feel like.
Yeah, but don't you also agree like that's all, like think of the best conversations that you had with your friends or with your family or like even like an ordinary person, like that person that you don't know on the street, that of course I'm not shitting on planning, but letting that magical moment to happen in a moment like that, I don't know, I feel that is the best moments of my life most of the time just happen like that.
Yeah.
In that unexpected pocket of moments. Yeah, anyway, so with my new storytelling skills, I will try to embrace that more and more.
Cool.
I'm very excited about this.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I'm happy that I've got like even a tiny bit that helped there. So yeah, gives me some joy and pride. And talking about your skills, like where do you draw your inspirations from? I mean, you're drawing a lot of inspiration from your own lived experience. But then how do you select the moments and how do you cluster that into themes that you want to build upon?
Good question. Such a good question. It actually made me think that when you asked me if I wanted to see the question and I said no, it right now makes me regret that decision. It's such a good question. It makes me regret my
Actually, it's not on there. I just made it up on the spot. See,
really,
the magic
this is
happening.
Magic. Oh no, this is magic. I don't like it. No. Okay, let's think. Divine Madness last year. You don't know that show. I'm gonna play it again. I'm looking at the cameras. Divine Madness was about my panic attacks, which we can talk about if it helped me to perform my panic attacks day in, day out. And now Home Sweet Home is about housing crisis. So again, I think because I perform at Mezrab regularly, I have to write new stuff. And then you write the stuff that bothers you the most, or it just takes a lot of space in your head. And sometimes some stories, like maybe I have like 12 stories, 2 of them I saw the value of stretching into an hour-long show. And Divine Madness was one of them because when I thought I was actually talking about my panic attacks, my grandma crept in. You know, it's one of those things that it's like a gum that you can actually stretch it out. You're like, oh my God, there's much more. And then this female aspect crept in, and my sexual abuse that happened to me as a child crept in, and then Lilith crept in. I was like, oh my God, this is quite a bit of material, and silence crept in. And for the housing crisis, for instance, this fly really loves to be a part of this podcast. God
I
bless.
hope so.
Bye.
Yeah.
And Home Sweet Home was about like I was, searching for a home for the last 4 years. And so I started telling stories, and it was funny, and people were like, haha, it happened to me too. I was like, oh, yeah. And then I collected their stories as well, and that question, and just like, there's some material. No, this is my thing. There's some material that you can actually stretch. But also, let me just say one thing. Also, the magic that we were talking about, that you let things also to direct you to that point. You know what I mean? Because if you just say that this show is about this and da, then actually, because I did that a lot of times, and then you actually missing the potential of where it can go. You're missing the potential of your subconscious maybe has something to say. And that's okay, because like, for instance, when I was doing Divine Madness, my sexual abuse were not there for the last 1 year or so. And a critic actually from Het Parool or whatever, when they saw my premiere, they're like, that was a very good show, but we have no idea who she is. Because I was talking about my grandma. Of course, I was talking about like the witch and my panic attacks, but like I was like, oh, do you see what's happening? Because that's what I could do, and I'm not punishing myself for that. I was not ready to talk about this. But then after I got a residency at Frascati, I was like, one night I was looking at my material, and you feel it. You feel actually it's missing something, but you cannot point your finger on it. I was like, oh. And then I saw this image when I was 7 years old, and in that clothing shop, I was like, fuck, I have to talk about that. And then you still can decide, you're like, I don't want to talk about that. Or like, yeah, I don't want to talk about this.
So what made you talk about it?
Yeah, it was look, I don't think about those incidents day in, day out. I don't also wake up, oh, like I was sexually abused. Like, that doesn't happen. I mean, some people maybe, but that doesn't happen to me. But I was busy with that material and my grandma and all those stories, and I was reading my thing, and then boom, that image came to me. And I felt ready. Yeah.
And how do you feel talking about that, especially on stage, about these very dark, difficult moments of life?
That's one of the reasons I'm not looking forward to do Divine Madness. I never do. Yeah.
I kind of would like to ask you more about it, but then...
That's okay.
And also about... Because I haven't seen it, so it's... For me, it's... yeah, I kind of...
Did you see little pieces on my Instagram or no? Nothing?
No, I've seen a few pieces here and there. Yeah. That I did. Of course, I scoured your Instagram and anything that I can find about you. I've seen a few pieces, but yeah, I definitely would love to come and see and watch it. And I'm not saying this in a masochistic way, especially now that I know that this is like something difficult for you to perform.
Yeah.
But
it's funny. Can I say something?
Yeah,
it's funny because like I was invited to do this TV show for NPO, and brother, oh God. So it's at 10:30. I have to be in Harlem. I go to bed at 11. Can't sleep. 12, can't sleep. 1, can't sleep. And I'm starting having a panic attack in the bed. I'm gonna do 7 minutes of Divine Madness next day at 10. And I'm like, am I gonna take the sleeping pill because tomorrow morning I'm gonna be groggy, or like, fuck it, at 2 a.m. I take the sleeping pill. I'm probably sleeping at 3, 4, something like that. I woke up like zombie. Blah, blah. My boyfriend, God bless, he took me to there. And we set up everything. I have a costume, I wore it, lights, start, and boom. I'm awake, I'm there, I performed it. Cut, all the crew were like, oh, they were like, that was amazing. And for me, that was like, I took actually a distance from it. It's not necessarily, I think when I'm playing, I'm not in pain, but going to that play or like like, then I feel very anxious about it, because in the moment, you're telling the story, but I am not looking forward to it, to be honest. No, no. Yeah.
I'm thinking that you have this pain, you have this wound, right? I mean, hopefully it's a scar by now.
Yeah, that's Sahand saying.
Yeah.
Did you know?
What?
Sahand, the founder of Mezrab, one of the founders, he has a saying, talk about the scar, not the wound.
Oh.
Yeah. You got that well.
Well, I've never heard this before, but good. Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought.
So you said, sorry, scar, you have that wound, hopefully.
Yeah, so you're tapping into, let's say, that energy, that wound, right, that scar. And I can imagine that it must be draining each time that you do that, right? And I guess since you're dreading it, and in this instance that you mentioned now, okay, you were up all night trying to get ready for it, and then you have like this physical fatigue.
Physical reaction.
Yeah, physical reaction to something emotional, and yeah, something that happened, of course, in the past.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily something unreasonable to have a panic attack or something about, right? So I've struggled with anxiety, and quite often my anxiety was, if you think about it rationally, it's like unreasonable. But tapping into that, I can only imagine how drained you must be at the end of it. I mean, it must be like a whole process before, during, and after.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how you deal with that.
Do I deal with that? So I'm taking oxazepam. That's a joke, but not really. No. Yeah, it's not a scar. It's a wound. That's absolutely true.
Or a scar that doesn't need a lot of poking before it starts bleeding again.
Yeah, maybe that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer to that. I don't think I am dealing with it. But okay, I have one thing. I'm sometimes looking forward to perform Divine Madness, because the whole play is actually, there are a lot of Bible quotes, and the play starts with Genesis 1:1. In the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was God, right? And my performance is actually how, in a moment like that, you stay silent. And my grandma, who was labeled as crazy and killed herself because of sexual abuse happening in the village, she could not use her words. So my play is built upon the idea of music happens when the words are not enough. So I use a lot of music. I work with a musician, and there's a lot of techno beats, and that's how my character also finds freedom and liberation. And I also feel that with the audience, like there's this ritual element of it, very dark, and like there's beats that I'm really looking forward to. That really excites me every time I think about like performing Divine Madness. Yeah, let's do that.
I'm very curious to come.
You should
and
come.
watch. Yeah, I will definitely.
Yeah, in April.
And
yeah,
why did you choose like biblical Christian references? I mean, it's
interesting. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I do not see any connection, any cultural connection at least.
Yeah, maybe I was not a Dutch-Turkish theater maker in the end. No, because I am very into esotericism.
Okay, but there is also in Islam. There is in.
True, but you know, like as a person who wanted to distance themselves from their culture, so much so their religion was not even in the picture. I don't know anything about Muslim Islam esotericism, but very much so. When you come to my house, you're gonna see a lot of cross and like not a lot, but like Jesus figures, and so like Mary Magdalene, and I like the stories. I know the stories.
What attracts you to that?
I think the visual language, I find it very attractive. The stories. Maybe also like probably Islam also has the stories. I just have no idea whatsoever. And, you know, like I little like witchy moments with your friends, like we would do tarot, and like there like very similar vocabularies happening. Actually, there are a lot of overlaps. And I find Bible quite an interesting book. Like first there was Word, and Word was God. I also say it in the play. It's not. I think a lot of people are really missing a lot when they look at the religious text as it is, like, oh, there's an apple, and then like, no, dumbass, it's poetry. You know, like for me, the word was God. The way that I interpreted the word, first there was sound, and that's why sound is very important. That's how I built the Divine Madness. But yeah, I don't know why I find it interesting. I just find it interesting. Yeah, I'm attracted to it.
And have you always been attracted to it? Is it something that you brought with you, like from Turkey, or is it something that you discovered here?
My grandma was quite religious, but my dad was very allergic to Islam. But when my grandma would visit us, she would teach me how to do namaz. And I love that, like a
What's
prayer,
namaz?
like an Islam prayer, like 5 times they do it. And I would wear a headscarf, and my dad absolutely hated that so much. So I had that thing with the religion, and, you
I
know,
have a hard time imagining you like that. But,
I look great.
okay, sure. You have pictures? Please show me.
And then now you're going to put the pictures of me.
Yeah, that's going to be like the cover of this episode.
And people would be expecting me to like turn into Islam or something like that. No, yeah, but you know,
That
like
would
all
be the
those.
best caption for YouTube. You know? Like,
Yeah. But you know, like
Basak
all.
converting, you know? Like,
And she tells the story of her conversion. But you know, all those three big religions, there are a lot of similarities and overlaps. We're just like being dumbasses to fight.
like in
among our
Islam,
children.
I mean, I grew up with both cultures, right? Both with Islam and Christianity. And I see that I would say 90% is the same.
Yeah.
It's just perhaps in the ways how you practice it. And parts of the stories which are quite crucial.
Yeah.
So I think the main differences start with kind of like the death or not of Jesus.
Yeah.
And then the resurrection, and then you have the Trinity part, which is
Yeah.
where it differs. But a lot of the rest is more or less the same.
Absolutely.
I
And
mean,
you know, like Jesus' story is actually based on the ancient Egyptian stories. There are a lot of overlaps with certain gods and da. So it's just, it's actually one idea. Like it's almost like one tree, and there are different branches. That's how I see it.
yeah, there is this YouTube channel that I started following or watching recently. It's quite interesting. I don't know if you know it. I don't remember what they're called, sadly, so I cannot really quote them. But they look into fairy tales and stories and retrace their origins.
Beautiful.
So like things like I don't know, like Hansel and Gretel, or things like the Grimm stories, you know.
Yeah.
And most of them have similar stories in India, in the Far East, in the Middle East. And it's fascinating how these stories have transcended times, and they trace them to like 3,000 years, 5,000 years, and like they find these core elements.
Oh, isn't it so
You know, and it's amazing.
Yeah, you see, Jung was right with the collective unconscious, his theory, and all the like. Still, they are like a lot of like psychologists that go very against it. But like, this is collective unconscious. We're actually sharing like those archetypes and symbols and images. Yeah, we are not that different than from each other.
We definitely aren't, and then
World
we
peace.
just keep on.
I'm playing to that camera. I don't know what you're gonna do with that editing.
I'm just gonna make sure
I think
that
I winked at that camera like 5 times or whatever.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make sure that we're gonna keep at least one of them in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So which one was it? That one?
Fuck the fourth wall.
One?
That's I always winked at that
Okay,
one.
that one.
That'll be a
Cool.
bit difficult.
Yeah. All right. We went on quite a tangent,
Yeah.
and I like that. This is part of the magic that we talked about, right?
Absolutely. If we're gonna talk more, can I get some drinks?
Yes, let's go for it. Cool. So, ancient Egypt.
After a little break of
Yes.
drinks, and
Yeah.
I had to
Fix your hair.
not fix, but I had to. It was giving me a headache.
Oh,
So you're not losing your mind. I had a different hair.
I'm such a guy. I didn't know this.
What, you did not notice?
No,
Yo, that's not a guy. Are you okay? Like that's a huge. No,
I don't know. Like I've seen you in so many times, and each time you've got a different hairstyle.
that
you
is
know?
true.
And then I'm like, yeah, it's just as long as this is the same.
Yeah. No, this is a difficult animal to tame. So sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down.
Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't understand.
No, I used to,
You
believe
used
it or
to.
not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to have long hair, like
Yeah.
shoulder length.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, our fly friend is back.
Yeah. So
Hi, guy. He wants to be
uh,
famous. He wants his 15 minutes of fame,
I was hoping to have like a Barack Obama moment.
which is
Yeah, there was this, I think, was it with CNN or with BBC, he was having like this interview and there was this fly that kept bothering him. And then it landed, I think, on his hand or something, and he's like, smack.
really.
Yeah, and he got it.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And were you impressed by that?
Sorry?
Were you impressed by that?
Well, I've seen it before, but like in Western contexts, a bit less frequently.
Yeah, it's like he got it. No, for me, like we have a friend around. How about that?
Yeah, and also growing up, like partially in Tunisia, I remember like with my cousins and my aunt's place, would be running around, and then we'd take some slippers. There was like in summer, it's warm, there are always flies.
Yeah.
So then we'd have like a competition where like throw slippers and see how
How many,
how many
can you get?
kill.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Okay,
yeah.
from that, this is quite a light
This
version
is like
of it.
easy.
Yeah,
you
what
know?
is it?
Yeah, come on. You don't catch it like mid-flight. There's a lot of calculations you need to make. You need to anticipate because you cannot hit it to where it is. You need to hit
No.
it to where it's going to
Going
be.
to be
Yeah.
very good.
So things like that.
Made you who you are
Yes.
today.
Yeah. Well, all back to that moment. Yeah. Yeah. So talking about your pieces, the theater pieces, there's a lot of like themes that keep on recurring, right? And preparing for this, and also when I had you on the phone, like we talked a lot about identity. We talked also about like sense of belonging, migration, these kind of things. And these are kind of like, it's a soup that you keep on pulling topics from, right?
Yeah.
And talking about being, once again, like a foreigner in, or not anymore, but at least partially in a foreign land. You mentioned a couple of times, Trito, what you called the European dream. And I wanted to ask you, what is it for you? What is the European dream? Perhaps you can start by explaining that. And as a second part of the question, maybe how was it in practice? As a non-European coming to Europe, what was the aspirations, but then what's reality?
Yeah. That's gonna be a long ass answer. No.
Take your time.
So in my latest play, Home Sweet Home, I mentioned this as a Dutch dream. I think really Wes Anderson and Amelie did the trick for me. In a sense, like I thought that, and also like when I saw Amsterdam, like you look at the canals, and then the houses with the, balconies with flowers and the bikes. And
It's very Disney-like.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you think that's going to be your reality. But also my character, myself in the play, she missed a big point, which it's not free. There's still privilege absolutely involved there. Not everyone lives in Amsterdam, lives on those like wooden floors with, with big windows and the whole shebang. So the Dutch dream, the European dream I had was very, very Disney-like, absolutely. Like baguette and like I'm thin and there are dimples and, pastel-colored skirts. And that was the idea. But moreover, my country and Europe was a thing. I don't know if you heard the gossip. And I mentioned
that relationship went through a lot of phases,
God,
right? You were like
God,
close,
yeah.
and then you separated, and then a bit close,
back
and then,
and forth, push and pull. No, but I talk about that. Like I talked about it in this performance for the European Days. That there was a similarity of a love story between Europe and Turkey, and I say Turkey was like the guy and loved the Europe and tried to get back with her and get with her, and then Europe would always say, yeah, but first you have to do this, first you have to do that. That was the thing, like growing up, we were like, oh my God, we're gonna get into EU and it's gonna solve all our problems, because coming from a left side of the country, we're like, yeah, Europe, like that's where we belong. What are you even talking about? right? Even like one of our continents, like we are both Asian.
Yeah,
Europe.
and Europe was also playing a bit difficult. It's like, yeah, you're doing, but you're not doing enough.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's like,
Exactly.
yeah,
You should be
I
doing
want
it
a
like
new
this.
sets of jewelry.
Yeah, yeah,
this is like,
Your friends are really like trouble.
Yeah.
You should stop hanging out with them.
yeah,
So there was this thing, and that also, like, I'm not gonna go into like 1923 when Atatürk changed the alphabet to Latin, but Europeanization of Turkey has been a thing for the last 100 years. And European ideals, of course, like democracy, which things that we did not have before. But one thing, and again, I am very, very, very dumb, dear audience, when it comes to politics, please take it a bit of salt. But we're just like this European ideals that we like European countries really deserved it. Like when we talk about like French Revolution, they really went against their kings and whatever. We came to that point because Atatürk was like, you know what, guys, I think we should do it like that. We're like, okay, and so that was given. It was not necessarily. It was not something that we strived for.
So it was like a model that you wanted to emulate.
Exactly. But it didn't. The change didn't come from inside. It was almost like an alcoholic person, and the wife says, like, you should stop drinking, and he stops drinking, of course, for a few weeks. But then, he gets back to it again because he didn't necessarily want it. So I think change, when it comes from inside, I think to the societies it does something. It roots itself to a deeper position. But so basically, also, like I mentioned that before, like my dad being a Yugoslavian guy, belittling my mom and that part of the family, just like, we are Europeans. So I thought coming here, things, first of all, would be pretty, would be easy, but then you face one thing that I was not ready to face, which was bureaucracy. Very, very, very harsh bureaucracy.
Isn't it, though, simpler than Turkey?
In Turkey, it depends on who you know.
Yeah. Okay,
and I
okay.
knew
I can relate to
quite a good.
you got well connected.
I knew my way around there.
Yeah, all right.
But here, you like the paperwork and everything, and then this and that. But I think the biggest disillusionment that I had to go through with when I started working at Reederei Lampedusa.
Okay, you're name dropping.
Reederei Lampedusa. Reederei Lampedusa is a non-profit organization based in Amsterdam. And we have 2 former refugee boats really carried people from Egypt, Libya to Lampedusa Island in
I thought
Italy.
one of them was like from Tunisia or something. Somebody
No, one of
lied
them
to
is, I don't know.
me. Yeah,
think-
someone tricked me. Anyways, doesn't matter.
I think that was, well, now you are making me question
Yeah,
my own work.
we need to find this out. We need to
Yeah,
get to
we
the bottom
do,
of this.
actually. We have to go to the bottom of this.
I mean, one thing I know for sure, because
Yeah.
I worked a little bit on migration back in the day. So I worked a bit with the IOM and so on ages ago, a lifetime ago. And I know for sure that Lampedusa is like the to-go-to place for all Tunisians, all people that are migrating from that part of North Africa. Lampedusa is the closest island.
Exactly that. Yeah, closest island. So that's why a part of Lampedusa Island known as graveyard of boats, because there are like hundreds of boats just like there.
Yeah.
So in
You have
2000,
Lampedusa, I think, and then you have Palermo is also like in Sicily, which is also like a
I think
big.
that's further. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there is like a big asylum seeker center there.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is right now, but if my memory serves me, it's like a very horrible center over there.
Yeah.
Like conditions are really, really inhumane and stuff. But my information might be outdated right now. Anyways.
No, but so in 2015, a Dutch artist, Teun Kastelein, brought 2 boats from there to Amsterdam. And since then, Lampedusa is organizing these canal boats, canal tours for tourists and students and companies or whatever. And those tours are different than normal tours because our crew consists of refugees. And refugees tell you the history of Amsterdam, as normal canal tours do, with the lens of migration. Because this city, it's a fact, like was built by dense immigrants, were Jewish people, with shoulder to shoulder with Dutch people. So this is something I think is a very important information that we need to remember right now. This city was built by refugees with Dutch people. So refugees was a big part of it. And now refugees, they are different people, not Jewish people right now, but like, as you said, like Tunisia, Syria, and so. And our crew also tells their story, how they came here and what is life like them, to them right now. And that was a big moment for me because, of course, like I came here with a partner and then I faced my own privilege in a sense, like I did not have to go on a boat. I did not have to go through all those things that my colleagues did. And when you hear their stories and when you hear how they came here also with this European ideals, because they're like, yeah, but in Europe, everything, like there's human rights. It's going to be fine. And then you see actually that those ideals are almost like with a red velvet rope. And it's for a privileged few. And to go to that red velvet rope that you have to prove a lot of things and this bureaucratic hurdle is not like just like, I don't have my papers, like, there's a lot of papers. No, like they have to wait for years. And sometimes they cannot prove certain things. But so like hearing their stories was also to me like, oh shit, those ideals are actually not given to everyone. And when I look back also to Turkey and how Europe, how we want to be part of Europe and we were never allowed to, sometimes you can't help but feel like, and I say that in my play, is it because I'm Turkish? Like there's this, like, is it because I'm brown actually? That's what I'm trying to say, Is it because I'm brown? How different are we than like Albania? I don't know, like certain Balkan countries that they were in EU, but we were not, like this pushing away Turkish or like those migrant communities, is it really helping?
Yeah, the narrative at that time when it was still on the table was that, at least like from Muslim countries, was that it's because it's in essence it's a Muslim country.
Yeah,
like a Muslim country in Europe cannot be.
Yeah, and that sounds very what is that word? Paranoid, right? But also when you look at it, that also looks kind of correct. Because Turkey was really trying, like, believe me when I say that, in the beginning of 2000, we were doing everything that we could. And at some point, Erdogan said, fuck you all then I'm going to change my thing to
Yes, like if you don't want to be my friends, I'll make new friends.
Exactly. No, what I'm trying to say is like there's this inherent, there's this internalized racism. There's absolutely this internalized racism. Right now, we're also seeing like immigrants are once again being used as the black sheep of whatever is like going wrong. They are taking our jobs, or like the housing crisis is happening because of refugees. That's not fucking true. Look at the numbers. But no one wants to do that, and they are the easy targets. So European dream, this disillusionment, and don't get me wrong, like I still see the privilege. I love being here and everything, but that ideal was not true.
I mean, you mentioned now the situation of refugees or asylum seekers. I mean, refugees, once you went through the process and you're a refugee and then you become a citizen, and then asylum seeker is someone who's still in the process, right?
Yeah.
And then you came here, you were legal, right? And I can imagine you being legal, you have your own privileges, of course. I mean, you came here by plane, you didn't have to escape anywhere.
Yeah.
At least not in the literal sense, as if you're like leaving, escaping a conflict or war zone or persecution of any sort. But I'm pretty sure that like most migrants, whether you are even let's say a highly skilled migrant or not, you still probably came here with certain expectations, right? Which I can imagine were not necessarily met. And you mentioned this in your play, right? I mean, the housing situation and other situations as well. And yeah, when were you first faced with that? Like, when was it that you realized that, yeah, this is not the dream that was sold to me. This is not the ideal necessarily place. I mean,
I think for me, look, I can't talk about housing crisis or whatever, but because I've been working with asylum seekers and refugees, and I've been listening to their stories, mine is so minute. Or like, for me, when I faced it, I think a lot of also people faced it when we saw those refugees on the boats, when we saw them drowning, when we saw the coast guards were not doing anything or just like shooting in the certain borders, and so that was for me that, oh, wait a second. Or like what's happening with the Palestine? How many months it took them to say something about it. So it's like, as I say, I think there is of course absolutely internalized racism towards like brown people in Europe right now. And that is so dumb. That is like not only hurtful, that is really dumb, because those people really come here to not sit on their butt, you know. They want to work. I know so many of those, like my refugee people, like asylum seeker friends. They're like, I want to do something, you know. Also, those people are fucking winners. Can you imagine how much it took someone to come to another country? Like how much courage that you must have to step on a boat and like thousands of dollars that you don't actually have, and that's pay it, and just like taking all those risks and end up here.
I mean, the resilience alone is insane.
Absolutely.
I mean, I had a conversation, as you probably know, with Jamal,
yes,
which you both know. Yeah. And he's also like an example of positivity, of resilience, of like he want to make it no matter what.
Yeah.
And I've met quite a few, and they're all like hard workers, and they're all kind of like want to enact positive change in their own lives and add something and to contribute to society.
Yeah.
It's just that in many cases you don't get the opportunity.
Yeah.
And what's even frustrating is sometimes it's kind of like the arbitrary selection process. Like you see some people that perhaps get the permit and then they end up doing nothing, and others that are just because they come from a different country, then they're not necessarily let in or something, you know?
Yeah, Jamal's story is absolutely, for instance, he's still waiting. Like it's been 14 years or something like that.
Something like that. I think
maybe
he's been here
more.
for 20. Yeah.
Funny because like I knew Jamal actually, like because I met Jamal, I think I told you, in front of an Albertine. I was not doing well, and I saw he was like giving out those papers. It was a Christmas time, and I took it, and I was like, and I read it, and he was not asking anything. He was just like giving good wishes. And it stayed with me, you know, like that was such a
like
kind
you
moment.
would not blame him if he didn't do that.
Yeah, of course.
That's the thing. I don't do that.
Yeah. Of
you
course.
know, like I'd be like, probably if I would do that, people would be like, yeah, why the hell are you doing that? It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
You know, why are you sending like or giving text with holiday wishes to strangers?
Yeah.
But he did that, and it was so impactful, and he impacted so many people.
Yeah.
Others that I also spoke with they know Jamal, they miss Jamal, you know, and it added so much to that corner where he was working.
No, but also like ideally, like those merits that we're talking about, like refugees, ideally they don't even exactly what you said, like they don't have to do that. They don't have to be resilient. They don't have to be hard workers, because they're human beings and their country is in shambles right now. And because we're living in one world and it's all interconnected, and because Europe actually still playing a huge part of it, maybe you should take some of the blame, and you should do something about this. And they don't have to be like resilient, very brave, courageous people, you know, because I'm sometimes also catching myself using those words. But look at them. They're like, you know, they don't have to be, because human beings their lives have value. And in Dutch, there's a word saying like gelukzoeker. And they use it as like
it's a slur.
It's a slur. It's like happiness searcher.
Yeah.
Why is that something bad?
Actually, I think there is this organization which is called gelukzoeker.
Oh yeah.
Are you familiar with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually trying to change.
They have T-shirts.
They have T-shirts. They have jewelry. They have all these things.
Yeah.
And I think they do. I don't know what they do with refugees, or there's some kind of social element. I'm not sure about it.
Yeah.
But I just like the fact that they took that term and they literally want to change its meaning. Yeah. I know many people, at least 2 people, that have this gelukzoeker T-shirt and they're wearing it proudly.
Yeah.
You know, because, aren't we all?
Aren't we all? What's wrong with that?
right?
Yeah.
Like, I think everyone in life is trying to find happiness, trying to
Yeah.
find meaning, trying to find, in a way, a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah.
another thing that your performance has made me think of, and that's a theme that I kind of noticed, is there's an underlying element of which is related to belonging. So, because I was thinking about your Home Sweet Home, and I was thinking, okay, so it's about a very practical thing.
Yeah.
But behind that practical, under that practicality, I think there's also a sense of belonging, a sense of making it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Making it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You came to my show, and after there was an after talk.
Yes.
And we talked about that shortly over the phone. So I was asking the audience questions, and someone said, basically my character is trying to find a place for herself in Amsterdam, and someone said, yeah, but why don't you go to Den Haag?
Yeah.
And
I found that
friend.
hilarious.
and that was a Turkish person. I was like, okay, why don't you go back to Turkey? But besides that, because then after our conversation, I laughed at it a bit more, and I talked about it a bit more, and that's how you have stories. That's how you have stories, you know, because a character decides on something and they chase something, such as gelukzoekers or whatever, and they're like, I'm gonna make it here, and then you make some decisions, and that's a story. If my character, like after one viewing, she's like, you know what, maybe I should actually go to Zandam and don't play, you know, like, and it's not, I'm not saying like, and a lot of us are like, we're still struggling with the housing situation, or like certain things, we're trying to make a relationship work out, right? That actually makes your life what it is. How you behave with an obstacle or with a problem or whatever, the decisions that you make makes your life. So her a note of like, but why don't you go to Den Haag was absolutely very, very dumb. Sorry if you're watching it right now. It was very dumb.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, like.
But belonging, yeah.
It confused me.
Yeah.
But belonging, yeah.
But belonging, yeah. Yeah, isn't that a motherfucker?
Is it something you have or something you build?
I think you also moved a lot in your life, no? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I also did.
Countries, continents.
Yeah.
Moved at least 5 or 6 times in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've moved.
What is it belonging for you?
I thought I was the one asking the questions. I think it's a place where I put my head, where I think safety. I think a place where I can be myself safely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I do relate to that. But do you also agree?
It's not a geographic location.
Yeah, that's what I was going. Yeah.
So I can say my parents are my home. I go home to Tunisia. I also go home to Norway.
Yeah.
I feel home in both places, but also feel home here.
Yeah.
It's a feeling of safety. I don't feel home in Paris.
Yeah.
You know, so
Nice.
geographic location is more a feeling.
Yeah.
And I think it's safety, and being able to be myself is a big one there.
Yeah. I love that. And that's what I wanted to ask you that question, and I wanted to get your answers, because I also moved, not necessarily, I didn't change countries or whatever, but I moved cities and apartments, and, you know, so there was a lot of moving around involved in my life. For me, belonging, that is really, for instance, like, yeah, my bed right now, that's where I belong. in the arms of my boyfriend. That's where I feel like I'm safe and I can be like myself. So I think it's a bit romanticized, this idea of like I feel belonging in a country or whatever. But I think people like you and me, like people who had to uproot it a lot, find belonging in sometimes at a cafe. You know, there's Ibericus in Haarlemmerstraat. Like you can find me there like twice a week. I feel like
you
I
like
belong there.
Ibericus? I love their
Ibericus.
sandwiches.
Oh my God, the
Yeah.
best. The best.
Yeah, it's
I
simple.
belong to Ibericus.
like the bread and just the right amount of the tomato, and the olive oil, and the ham.
I always add extra cheese.
Oh yeah, they have the machego, right? Yeah, it's been a while. So how often
Today
do
I
you go?
went there.
Sorry?
Today I went there.
Yeah. When are you going
was not
next
enough.
time? I'll join.
Yeah, I will let you know.
Yeah, give me a call.
I swear to God, like twice a week I'm there. I made friends with the people who work. But that's what I'm trying to say, you know, like, and then belongings. And my characters, stupidly, but that's how you have a story. She thinks she's going to get belonging in an apartment and then she's going to live her Dutch dream. She's dumb. But all the characters have to, like, in a dumb in a sense, like for a character to be alive, they have to have very strong conviction. And in my life, because I use my mind and I know, like, I can sometimes question my own decisions, but the character should be like, no, this is, and things happen to them and then they have to change and that's the character arc. But she completely believes that once she has a place, and then she can have, then she can have peace, which is also absolutely true. Like the reason that, for instance, with Divine Madness, I struggled a lot, and with Home Sweet Home, I'm not struggling a lot right now to play, and I can look at it as a story more than my own life because now I have a home. So it's actually a retrospective. I'm like, oh, that's what happened, and da-da-da. It makes my job much easier because when it's your life, it's just right here, and you know, like you need some distance. You know what I mean? To be critical.
Yeah, I guess when you're in it, you can't see. Yeah, you can see clearly, right?
No, then it's not a product. And I'm not in a product like you. Sometimes like you use both of your brain when you write something fiction or like artistic, creative. There should be a heart, but there should also be a brain. There should be some sort of structure and little clues, and then they come together in the end. It should be smart. And when it's your life, it's very difficult to do that. In Divine Madness, I did not manage to do that. But it doesn't bother people because it really comes from here. There's a lot of heart. But with Home Sweet Home, I did that.
Yeah, I think it was done in a smart way. Especially you have that element of like this absurd element to it, and these kind of decisions that are not necessarily the most rational. And even though there were like a few elements of introspection, they weren't very deep.
No.
They kind of like, is it me? But no, it's like, it's always everyone else.
Yeah, you know? always.
Yeah. So I had like a couple of moments, it's because I'm Turkish. It's like...
I love that. It's because I'm Turkish.
Yeah. And it comes back a couple of times, and I really appreciate it. It's kind of like, there's a hint of introspection, but then it only scratches the surface.
But also, like, I added, that was the last thing that I added to the play, the question of, is it because I'm Turkish? She asks a few times, like, she's like, something bad happens to her, and she's like, oh, is it because I'm Turkish? And the first time you're like, it might be. You know, there's racism. It might be actually because she's Turkish, she cannot find a job or whatever. A second time she asks, is it because I'm Turkish? It's like, maybe not. And the third time is just like, it's so obvious. It's absolutely has nothing to do. She's just dipshit. But like, I thought that was also a bit like also poking to the identity politics, like everything, like, you know, some people, they really identify their background with their background or with who they, like, where they were born or whatever, like, and to me that's sometimes like, maybe, you know, there are other aspects to you and then to your life, and maybe I shouldn't make some enemies right now. Maybe I'm gonna stop talking about this.
Yeah, is that the safe thing to do?
Yes. I caught myself going somewhere and
Yeah.
No,
but I can understand that though. I can understand to a certain extent that, I mean...
Because, wait, can I say something else? Because if I, in the third one, if I didn't put the third one, and if I, every time she said, is it because I'm Turkish? And the audience was like, oh, maybe it's because she's Turkish, then then she's like the victim of the conditions. You know what I mean?
And you remove any sense of agency.
Yes.
And she had agency.
Absolutely.
In all the decisions that she made. And in a sense, and I know it's a very human thing to do. Everyone thinks, and at least for hundreds, if not thousands of years, people thought that they're the center of the universe.
Yeah.
Like until I think Galileo, everybody thought that, okay, the Earth is in the center of the universe, everything is about us.
Yeah.
And now everything is about me.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I cannot be wrong. I'm living my life. I'm the hero of this story.
Yeah.
Whereas, in a sense, no, you're not.
Yeah.
We're all kind of trying to navigate this complex thing called life in the best way that we can. And there's no heroes and there's no villains. Okay, there are some villains in certain cases. And there are, of course, some heroes. But what's interesting is quite often the villains don't even think of themselves as villains, right?
Oh, of course.
Like most... there's this book that I read some time ago about, I think, Nazi Germany, and it really delved deep into this, and that most young German Nazi soldiers, they were convinced that they were on the good side of history. Yeah. Nobody thinks I'm evil. No. I'm just going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to go commit evil. No. You know, and the same thing with stupidity, with stupid decisions. Nobody thinks I'm going to wake up and going to make stupid decisions in life, you know? Yeah. But we are kind of like convincing ourselves along the way, searching for whether it's success, meaning, belonging, whatever, and being too close to it to be able to see whether we're doing as the right thing or the wrong thing, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this agency that you also mentioned is so important to my life right now as well, because you can victimize yourself all day long. And, you know, the world gives you enough reason to do that, also, especially as an immigrant or whatever. But right now what we're doing, I go back to Lampedusa for a second. Lampedusa, we changed our direction 2 years ago. It was before like, let me tell you how difficult it was. And of course it was difficult. And let me tell you how difficult it was when I came here and da-da-da-da-da. But right now, for the last 2 years, and this year we're even going to go harder with this, we are resilient people. Let me actually teach you something from my own culture. You know, that's changing perspective, basically, taking some agency into your life. And that empowers you.
Because these people did not accept the status quo.
Yeah.
They could have stayed.
Yeah.
They could have stayed in their miserable conditions.
Absolutely.
Like, hell no. I'm going to go through hell and back to make my life better or different or to survive, whatever. I think we can use all these different adjectives or all these different terms. And that's super powerful.
I think so too.
Like, we could learn from that.
Yeah.
And there's this thing that I saw a couple of days ago after the elections. There was this meme or this thing on social media that said, and it was about migration, immigrants. And I'm probably going to butcher it now, but it said something like, how come, foreigners or immigrants stealing or taking our jobs is a bad thing, but when AI does it, it's a good thing. And nobody's really revolting against AI, are they? Yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Like...
let's not go there.
Yeah, no, but you're also thinking about this right now. Like the Netherlands, I think for the first time in I don't know how many years, there are actually more people looking for jobs than there is work.
Really?
Yeah. So this came out like a day or two ago. So there's more people than jobs.
Here we go.
Yeah. Anyways, let's end this on a positive.
Yes.
So, I mean, we talked about all these different topics, and I think the theme is, even though these are difficult things to address, I think they're very important to address. And it's part of life. And life is not always rosy, but I think you bring a lot of humor to your performances, even though they can be quite dark at times. And I wonder where you get this capacity to bring that humor in there. And I mean, I think it comes through also from your own personality. It's something that you have. You're kind of like, it's something that you radiate. And I guess this leads me to the question, which is, where, like, how are you able to see the fun things?
Is this the last question?
Not necessarily. We can make it longer or shorter.
What time is it?
I think, yeah. Okay, last question there is.
Okay. Great question, first of all.
Okay.
Okay. Did you say okay?
Okay.
That was really cool. Fine. Oh, that's gonna sound so bad. You know Albert Camus?
Yes. I've heard of him. Yeah.
You know, he has this.
Yeah.
He has this text about Sisyphus. You know Sisyphus? Okay, for the people who don't know Sisyphus, Sisyphus was punished by gods till eternity. He had to push a boulder up to a mountain. But his punishment was that every time the boulder is on the top of the mountain, it would come back. So he had to do this for all eternity. He had to push the boulder up to the mountain.
I thought I confused Sisyphus with somebody else, but
yes.
Thank you for enlightening me.
Very well. I saw that in your eyes. There was no, I'm joking.
No, but
I did not see it actually.
I confused him, I think, with someone else. I forgot who it is. But the thing is similar. So someone's been punched by the Greek gods again, and I think he's attached to
Prometheus.
Prometheus,
with the liver.
With the liver,
Yeah.
Similar concept.
Yeah, similar concept. But what is interesting about Sisyphus, I think, also very connected to the modern human right now. It is very futile what we do. Life can be very futile. What are we doing? I'm gonna brush my teeth 1,000 more times, and every second passing that I'm getting closer to my death, which I don't know when it's gonna come. And all the people that I love is gonna die. Sometimes, like when I fall in love, when I'm about to fall in love, I'm like, fuck, the best scenario that he's gonna die. Like, what are we doing? You know, there's a lot of misery when you think about it. Every day someone is dying.
I just said that you're positive and talked about your
Wait
humor.
for it. And Sisyphus' thing is also like pushing the boulder up to the mountain, just comes back again, but he does it again and again and again. There's no point to it whatsoever. Also, there's no point to it whatsoever, because as modern people, we would believe in heaven and hell. Now we know it's kind of bullshit. There's no angels that are awaiting us, you know, with our merits written on a paper. But Albert Camus finished this whole essay, and he actually talks about how killing oneself is the biggest question in philosophy, if life is worth living. So basically he examines that question, the whole essay. And then he ends the essay with, one must imagine Sisyphus happy. And in a sense, like the way that I interpret it, is that you find those little moments in life. Maybe when he was pushing, you know, maybe he saw a little flower on the mountain skirt, and maybe a seagull shit on his head, and then the seagull laughed flying away. So you find those little moments, and then for 1 second, the actually boulder is sitting on the top of the mountain. Oh my God, he did it! And then it goes back again. Fuck! And maybe someone up in the skies having wonderful time looking at our misery and our joy, but swear to God, it is very similar to how I try to live my life, in a sense. Like among all this misery and hatred and sadness, there is joy to it. And I really struggle with, for instance, like when I decided to, after my divorce, try to open my heart or not. I was like, what is the point? Really, like, what is the point of falling in love? What is the point of loving someone? There comes, of course, fights. There will, of course, come like heartbreak and everything. But then there are so many joyful moments that when you are in each other's arms, or when you're having, you know, jokes and then cooking together. And isn't it worth having that and take it with the other one? Because if you don't have this, the positive one, if you cannot have the negative one, like, and vice versa, you know. The coin has two sides. So take the coin, put it in your pocket, and move.
This is an amazing time to end
Yeah.
this. Yeah, it was great having you. I think it was a great conversation.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and oh, is there anything you want to share for the listeners, for the viewers?
On the 29th of November, I'm playing my show Home Sweet Home at Keizersgrachtkerk as part of the Spirit of Amsterdam. Come, because I need to feel it. Like it's like 200 people, and I'm playing it 2 times, so 400 people. So tell your neighbors, friends, your enemies. That was it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.